Welcome to Daily Focus. I'm a little earlier this morning. I've got meetings that I have to get to, but I wanted to take a little bit of time with you as I share God's word. And we are in Matthew chapter 5, and we're looking at verse number 9. And here it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." And boy, we live in a world today that needs peace, wants peace, doesn't want to do anything necessary for peace. They just want the result. They want the product without the process. And can I just tell you that violates God's designs? I mean, everything that God designed has a process to produce a product. But we live in a culture today, unfortunately, that is captivated by having immediate satisfaction, immediate fulfillment. We have Instacart. We have, next day delivery of Amazon. We have, drive through prescriptions and drive through meals and you name it. We just have everything at our fingertips. If you want data, you can go and you can get data for almost anything in an instant. Even with AI now, you can ask AI questions, and it will give you all kinds of data that is familiar to what topic it is that you're researching. And there's just so much instantaneous. And so what happens is that we want a product without a process. We just want it to happen. Parenting is hard work, and you can produce a product, but it's going to take hard work. It's not just going to happen. You can be prepared for retirement, but it takes discipline. It takes forethought. It takes planning. It takes implementing that plan, but you can do it, but it's not going to just happen. You can have a fulfilling marriage, but it takes work and it takes wise decision making. It takes discipline, and you can have the product, but it will take a process. And we live in a world today that wants peace, but they don't want the process. They don't want the work that is involved in having peace. And sometimes we get this conflicting in our minds because we say, well, Jesus is the source of peace, and that is true. Without Jesus, there is no peace. He said, in the world you have trouble. I have come that you might have peace. I have overcome the world. In other words, in me, you can have peace. And we have to portray that as Christians. We have to be attractive enough for the unsaved to look and go, wow, how do they get peace? One of the most difficult things in witnessing today is when Christians live in conflict with each other, when Christians live in conflict in their marriage, when Christians live in conflict in the ministry. We have to make sure that we're modeling that Jesus is the process. He is the source of peace. And so if we're going to have peace, it's going to come from Christ, and it's going to come because we are willing to embrace the process that he has set in place. What is it? Well, he is teaching us that it means that I'm going to have to be quick to hear and slow to speak. That means I'm going to have to learn to listen more than I speak. It does mean that I'm going to have to use gracious words when I speak. It doesn't mean that I never confront. It doesn't mean that I never give consequences. It doesn't mean that there isn't difficult conversations to have. Sometimes those difficult conversations are the pathway to peace. Confronting your children on wrongdoing, things that are unacceptable in your home and that are not going to continue in your home are sometimes uncomfortable conversations, but they're necessary if you're going to have peace. But there also has to come an understanding that Christ has given to us roles and responsibilities and dynamics as to how that peace comes through fulfilling of roles. You get out of your lane, you start doing things that's not yours to do, you start trying to take responsibility that is somebody else's, you are not going to have peace. You're going to have chaos. You're going to have confusion. You are going to have conflict. Why? Because that's not the design. Sometimes the best path to peace is just people getting back in their lane, letting what God designed function the way that he designed it. Well, yeah, but I don't like, right. That's the problem. We want what we want, we like what we like, and we think that we can violate God's designs and produce it. And all we do is get conflict. All we get is heartache, and we wonder, why can we not get it? Well, it's because people have to fulfill their lane. They can't get out of it. They can't challenge those that God has put in that position to make decisions. The hardest thing for sometimes that I have to face in remembering that God allows leaders and that I don't have to fix political leaders. God is capable. Well, the same thing is true in every other realm. God is able to deal with leaders. And the problem is we're not sure he's going to deal with them how we want, when we want, to the extent we want. So we take the bull by the horns and we have to fix it. And all we do is confuse it. If we'll just step back and say, okay, God, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to trust you with your part. I'm going to trust that the design works. There can be peace. There's also the aspect of peace where I am striving to exercise some of these other attributes that have been talked about, and that is to be poor in spirit, to mourn, to be meek, to thirst after righteousness, to be pure in heart, to be merciful. These are all products. These are all ingredients for the product of peace. And so we have to understand that we're not going to just say, I want peace, so somebody give me peace. It's not going to work that way. We're going to have to exercise the things that God says make for peace. They're attributes of Christ. So as I am spirit filled, I can produce peace in the influence and atmosphere in which I live. I can see peace in the relationships that I have. How? Well, it's because I want Christ to be seen in me, empowered by the fruits of the Spirit that manifest the character traits of Christ, and the product is peace. If I just want people to see me, I'm ticked off. I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to tolerate that. I tell you right now, not in my home, right? Well, okay. Well, when they want to see you, you're going to mess it all up because the flesh produces conflict. And whenever we make life about us, whenever we make an issue about us, when it's all about us being right, when it's all about us being responded to or obeyed, right? It's not about us. It's about Christ. It's about his design. It's defending his design. It's being gracious in our speech. It's allowing the Spirit of God to empower us to present Christ accurately. And when we do, there can be peace. Now, you say, but that's not always the case because the person on the other side doesn't want Christ, doesn't want peace, doesn't want it right. But it doesn't have to be, the conflict doesn't have to be because of you. It doesn't have to be stirred or continued because of you. What happens is when somebody opposes or somebody's just being selfish, we tend to justify now my selfishness because they are just being unreasonable. They are just being self-centered. They are just being self-pleasing. Right. That doesn't give me license to do any of that. I still have the privilege to show Christ. And I can be at peace knowing I have done everything in the relationship to show them the source of peace and the process to peace. And it is Christ. And if they want conflict, well, I'm not going to be able to be at peace with them, but I can be at peace with me, knowing I'm not stirring this conflict. I have done everything I can to solve this conflict. They just want it. And I can't make anybody else's decisions, but I make all of mine. Blessed are the peacemakers, those that pursue after peace, for they shall be called the children of God. In other words, these people will be shown, they will have a testimony, they will be an example of what children of God look like, walk like, talk like, and participate in these amazing designs the way God designed them to be. God bless you. Hope you have a great day. Let's go out and be a peacemaker today for God's glory. I'll see you.